Right.
I've been researching for this speech I'm writing.
Well, what's it on?
Anyway, there's a holiday tomorrow. I don't have to go to work.
It's on.
I was all
I always forget to notice that it's holidays, and then I probably don't have to go to work. I'm always like texting my boss. I'm like, "You have to go to work today?" Because somebody told me I probably didn't have to.
It's on childcare.
What in particular?
The relationship between, I don't know much about it yet. I'm still researching it. But the relationship between here, let me just look at my notes real quick so I can explain it easier. Here's what I have so far. In the United States, this is just a description of the problem. In the United States, low-income families cannot afford not to leave their children at home while they are working to put food on the table. They also cannot afford to stay at home to care for their children. In some states, the problem of leaving a child home alone is criminalized by current laws in place related with child negligence. Some experts argue these laws criminalize poverty. Some of the causations are the cost of some. This is something I'm still looking into. The cost of childcare may be a little bit too high. I need to figure out why it is. And then there's something related with income inequality with this connection to childcare as well.
Mm-hmm. So what are you going to argue, you think?
Well, I think that the U.S. should definitely pay more attention to its amount of funding and support that it has for childcare in the U.S. I'll give you a personal, and I'll give you another example I was reading about where this mom, the single mom, actually no, I think she was married. Her husband was at work, and they were struggling. They were minimum wage workers. They had just had a child, and then the child grew up to be around 11, and then she had lost her job, so she was going to a job interview. So she had to leave her kid in the car during the job interview because it didn't have anybody to look after that child, didn't have the community support for it. And so when she came out of her job interview, the cops were there like waiting for her to like arrest her and stuff. It's kind of sad.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
How are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Doing all right. How you?
As being a mom of 4, and for like 8 years, I don't know how in the hell I did it necessarily, and it wasn't much help from the government or any shit like that. I just managed to scrape by.
Yeah.
And I was a stay-at-home mom because it was, at least around here, babysitters are hard to find. First of all, you got to find the job, and you got to have the job. Then you have to have the sitter and be paying the sitter to get the help from the government to help you with the child care cost.
Yeah.
And that's just a portion of it too. And when you're getting paid $7.25 an hour or whatever the hell minimum, I think that's what it is around here. It's pointless.
Yeah, it's very difficult, especially especially at the rate, you're not gonna pay a babysitter $3 an hour or like $5 an hour. Most of them around here, around my town, they're like $10 an hour, and that's just like technically what the minimum wage is.
Yeah. Around here, a lot of times it's like $100 per week per kid.
One of the things that I also looked into was that even people who are in the high wage bracket, so to speak, are
Yeah.
paying more today than they were in 1990 for childcare services, whether they be educational or just childcare services and stuff. Why is that? I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I'm still researching it right now. But what I have heard is it doesn't have to do with the amount of staff that people hire whenever they like a company that's related with childcare services. It doesn't have to do with it doesn't have to do with that. And then because every state has different regulations for every childcare provider. Like if you own a facility and you own a company that offers childcare services, in the state of California, you're exposed to different regulations. The number, for example, one of them is like the ratio of like people to take care of the kids versus the number of kids there is. Cost of living is higher. That might have something to do with it. One of the other things I was reading is is the amount of paid family leave that people are receiving, be it in civilian workers or private workers. The latest report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics tells us that only 13% of private workers and only 14% of civilian workers have access to paid family leave. The rest don't have paid family leave, which is really important because you got to take some days off. You got to be with your kids and stuff sometimes, if not most of the time.
Yeah, but then there's personal responsibility that should be accounted for as well.
Like what?
Like there's people that aren't in the position to have children that end up having children, and they're not ready to have children. They're not in the financial situation to have children.
But do you think that economic
And they're not
status?
They're not in the financial situation. They're not financially stable enough to have children at that moment.
Do you think that most people, when they have a kid, are actually most of the time when someone is pregnant and has a kid, it's not necessarily planned. If you wait till you're completely ready to have a kid, you're not ever going to have a kid.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I feel personally that
Don't happen.
I feel personally that if you wait until you if you wait, I feel like that's just a long time, man. Realistically
And
speaking,
how are you ever going to put any laws onto that one? Like, first of all, cost. I mean, what is it? Minimum wage. Minimum wage is not ever going to probably get you by, and it's supposed to get you by and probably a family, a small one at that. So all those people who are getting paid minimum wage that didn't go to college, are they not going to be able to have kids because of they're just not financially ready?
yeah, I don't think that's something really that's. I don't like that idea. The idea
Not
that
much of an argument.
the idea that your economic status should dictate whether or not you have the capability to have a child is kind of sad.
I mean, I don't agree with the economic system as a whole, but as it stands, that's not fair.
I mean, you're not guaranteed the right to have a kid.
Okay, well, they're not economic. So when they're accidentally pregnant, should they go to the abortion clinic and get it killed then that way?
Absolutely
I
not.
I mean, then you're going to get all that,
I
and
think-
that shit, a lot of people are against that. Well, it's a life, and you shouldn't kill that life.
I think
Totally agree.
I think reproduction is like, personally, I think that that's like one of your own human. I see it as like a human right, so to speak. Like if you want to do that, then you should have the capability of doing that.
What is that? I would assume that a person supporting a family on minimum wage would be more than qualified for assistance. You'd actually be surprised, at least where I live. You might get you'd probably get food assistance. It's just the hoops you have to jump through and shit for it to even work out remotely. Yeah. The people I see that are on assistance around here have no job or anything. They just work the system. And the people who could probably use the help can't get it because they make too much money, or it is absolutely just like it's kind of a possibility to get.
I've been in situations where I've kind of witnessed that firsthand experience. What Katie, right? What Katie just finished saying about people who know how to work the system and like people who really need the assistance but don't have the access to. So I definitely think that there's a problem, that there could be an existing problem with this system.
The existing problem is it's kind of like ass backwards, really, is at least how I view it.
Another thing is, like, even though the assistance is there, you're still not tackling some of the other major issues, like paid family leave and, the cost, the rising cost of childcare costs and stuff. Like, you can have some money from the government, but that's not going to be, at least in my head, it doesn't make sense how that would be enough to deal with those two other factors.
Do you think that the perception that the government is who is ought to be responsible for addressing these things affects how little it is addressed from other directions?
Yeah, because the government can deal with the problems directly through policy making and stuff to the best of its abilities.
So do you think the government is capable of dealing with it? Do you believe that its ability is capable of dealing with it appropriately or sufficiently?
Sufficiently, I do believe so, because I do believe it can. From the local to the state to the federal level, the government does have the possibility to do that.
What would it require for it to fulfill that possibility as you see it?
Well, it would require people, representatives, to advocate for these kind of things, and like
for a distribution of resources, and therefore you have to. There's more to it than just advocating for it. Like there's logistics to it. It has to come from somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say, but what's the difference between, like, okay, so there is logistics behind this and stuff in terms of numbers and all that stuff, but what's the difference, like, whether or not you have those and whether or not you don't have those in terms of advocating as your first step?
Why would you advocate for something that you can't facilitate?
That you can't facilitate? Are you saying that
if the resources aren't there, that you should advocate for it, but not you understand whether it's capable of happening or not?
The resources are there; they're already giving them out, but they're not doing it right.
Right, I'm not disagreeing with that. But can you fix them? Can you fix that?
Yeah, the government can change
Certainly.
it.
Or is it a system that's that widespread that it's going to be.
It's really not.
Work right.
From state to state, it's different. It's not. I mean, it's kind of most certainly.
It's not. It's definitely not impossible for the government to reallocate its funding and remake its priorities in terms of like how it's using its money and stuff. If you see that it is, then that's a problem.
What would you do? How would you describe the proper reallocation of its funding compared to what it is now?
There's a fuck ton of shit that we could talk about. Like, for example, the fact that our military, we're spending a shit ton on our military. We're spending a shit ton on a lot of unnecessary bullshit right now. Like, I mean, I don't mean to get into this whole. Well, I mean, I kind of asked for it either way, but I don't mean to get into the whole presidential conversation, the president conversation, but there's a lot of reckless spending that our president has. Shit like that, you know? Education is one of the things that's taking the biggest fucking cuts. And there's a lot of different things lot of different approaches to solving the issue. If the resources aren't there, there's a lot of different ways to plan it.
Are you a constitutionalist, Abe?
Am I a constitutionalist?
Do you believe that the United States government should abide by the Constitution?
Should abide? Well, I don't know how I should take that question. I guess. I also feel like the U.S. should probably focus on the importance of the quality of life for an individual living in the States.
So you believe that the federal government should be primarily concerned with domestic issues?
Not primarily, but if it's a huge problem to the extent where poverty is being criminalized, then yeah.
You think that's the Fed's responsibility?
I think that the federal government can work with the state and local governments to deal with those problems.
So, I mean, I'm all for what you're advocating for, but I don't like it when people hide behind in the Constitution and say they're abiding by the Constitution and agree with the Constitution when they're doing so.
What does the Constitution have to do with improving the quality of life?
Education at all. So the fact that there's budget cuts means nothing because there shouldn't be any education budget whatsoever. There shouldn't be any government handouts whatsoever either if you're going to abide by the Constitution, either for, leave and whatnot, or financial assistance. That's not a responsibility of the federal government at all.
But
if we're going to be constitutionalists here, the government has no right to do that. None. So you want to, if you
you're
want,
arguing this from a constitutional
go ahead
standpoint.
for the government, but we can't. You're not operating within the same system.
So you're arguing this from a constitutionalist standpoint, and you're trying to make the argument that the government has no right to improve the quality of life of its constituency.
If we're going to follow what the Constitution says, the federal government has no right to be involved in education, for instance.
Well, fuck me. Let's fucking amend the Constitution.
Why?
Because the government should be focused on the quality of life of people.
But is the government? But the thing is that just because
the government has direct impact on these issues through policy making.
Throwing money at education, but is it actually improving education, or is it a broken system?
We are not throwing money at education right now.
How about you guys get down to the real deal? Single one of us, they're not out for us. So all these little fights about this and that and this and that, they're gonna fuck us in the end.
The Fed, yeah.
Yeah, we're fucked. This country's probably gonna kind of go down. We're not gonna be the leaders forever. That's just my opinion. Our constitutional rights, those don't mean fucking shit anymore.
Right, totally agree.
I'm not disagreeing.
I mean, I like my constitutional rights, but to the government, they really don't mean shit anymore.
Right.
The news is fake. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about in regards.
I mean, kind of to sit and debate about this or debate about that. I mean, what is there really to debate about besides the fact that they're gonna fuck us in every fucking way that they can? They're out for themselves. It's gonna be a whatever the. I don't know all the words for all this.
Well,
shit.
at the rate this country is going, I don't really blame you for having that sort of mindset.
Well, in my purpose.
Well, I mean, I'm more in the poverty place, and I've lived on survival mode long enough that fuck. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and they're not trying to fucking help us. They're out to help themselves. Soon we won't probably have. I mean, are we really going to have cash for a whole lot longer? They want to take all our gold. They want to take all our silver. We're all probably going to have a plastic card, and that's going to be your money source. And it's all going to be online. And then someday, everything's probably going to fucking crash, and that's how we'll be attacked. Without technology, we'll be fucked when everything goes down. Is anybody like in disagreement with that shit? I mean, that's just a roundabout on how I see it.
I'm not disagreeing that my outlook on the, as far as recovering from the kind of
Your gun that they like, that you like so much, they're going to find a way to come and get them.
nah,
Probably one by one.
that'll be fun.
Oh, it will be. They'll do
Audra,
it.
before, so, Audra, you were talking, you kind of directed the conversation to education. And you were talking about,
If you only fucking knew. Taylor has not fed me too much doomsday shit. I have fucking seen it.
Audra, you were saying?
What was I saying?
You're talking about, you were directing the conversation towards education.
I was, focusing on that. Not only, even if you disregard the idea that the federal government is not responsible and does not have the right to spend money on such a thing, you could address the issue of, is the federal government's approach to it effective?
Yeah, my point was just not that I'm disagreeing with your position or anything. I'm not even stating my own. I'm just saying I like consistency, and if we're advocating for something to be done within the government, we should be working within the rules defined by the Constitution.
Right.
If we're not, then we should openly state that.
It's one of those things. There's all this advocation. People advocate all the time for outcomes. And there's this idea that if I advocate for an outcome, it doesn't matter whether the effectiveness of the specific process for getting that outcome is effective or not is irrelevant. They're saying that it only matters that I want good stuff.
Well, the problem with you saying that is I feel now personally that you're saying I'm doing that, and that's a problem, because in my head it's like, how do you start to change things if that's going to be your perspective on everything?
Because you find the source of the problem. You have to go to the bottom. You don't start at the top and go, well, I'd like some nice stuff. And here this guy says he'll give me nice stuff, but I haven't actually examined whether or not his process to give me nice stuff is effective or not. And if you look and you go, the way I approach things is I go, why don't I have nice stuff? I don't start going, hey, I'd like nice stuff. I go, why don't I have nice stuff? And I try to find the problem, not just ask for a solution, right? Because oftentimes you've already got underlying problems, and then you start trying to put the outcome solutions of underlying problems, and that's why you even get what you want, right? Because you're not actually digging down deep and figuring out, why is this a problem? Why is this thing, most of them there have already been attempts to address. Why is that attempt? Why are the ways that it's addressed now not
Well, what you're saying makes sense. What I just finished saying not too long ago is I'm still researching this. I do still think, however, that it's something that should be spoken about amongst people that live in the States, obviously, so that people understand that these problems exist.
I think it's important to know that the problem exists, but I also think it's equally as important to try to figure out why the problems exist. It's not enough to just point out that the problems exist. In fact, that often causes more problems, I believe. If you only do one.
If you feel that way. If you feel that way.
I don't feel that way. That seems to make sense.
Well, if that makes the most logical sense for you, then...
I'd love for somebody to argue with me, because I'm always trying to refine my understanding of the way things work, but I haven't seen beneficial results from just pointing out problems, which is complaining, right? It's an important component, but it doesn't stand alone.
And we also hold logic in common. It's not that Audra has her own logic and you have your own logic. We're both appealing to the same system.
Right.
We're operating under the same system. And that's the only way we're going to get things done properly.
But Audra, I feel like you're taking it like I came here to fucking change the system. If I
No,
actually
I'm
wanted to
just
do something about it, I'd actually be fucking talking to my representatives.
I'm not addressing you, Abe. I'm addressing the theory, right? System. I'm addressing some of the statements that you made about the system. Seemed like there were some more components missing, right? But it's not you specifically I'm addressing. I'm debating the topic, right? In order to hopefully increase both of our understanding of the system and the situation. Potential solutions. In case you were wondering, Mark, I'm kind of a constitutionalist.
Right. No, I assume so. I mean, personally, I think with regards to childcare, we should all be supporting and helping raise each other's children. And
That's what
that would be a
think
Christian concept. Would be, if you're having a child, I'll help you like financially with that child. And it should be a charitable thing. And we should all be doing that. And I mean,
I think we should look to each other more than we look to the government.
Right. And then if we were to structure a government which would be actually the people, maybe that would work. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility and that's not something we should be advocating for or not, but it should be done properly. Because another one of the dangers, with creating government institutions that are not proper and do not function properly and are not run by the people is that it pushes out charitable groups from operation and puts them out of business, so to speak. So we used to have universal health care, but it was all charitable and it was run by the church.
Yep.
In the United States. And that got pushed out once the government started getting involved in health care.
Yeah, there was a cultural shift where for lack of a better term, welfare and assistance was expected of charitable organizations rather than the government, and then it kind of shifted, and then everybody assumes that it's always been from the government.
Right.
That's kind of interesting. The thing about the government is that they are not ever charitable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's impossible for that system to be actually charitable.
Yeah.
Even if it seems like it.
I mean, there used to be charitable organizations that would help you with childcare all over the place.
Yep.
Okay, so I found out an interesting fact. This is off topic. Turns out Enneagram sixes and nines have the hardest time figuring out their tri-type, or even their first Enneagram type. So I think that points to I'm at least a 6.
I think Ken said that at one point, and he's a 6.
So I just need to figure out my other two numbers.
Well, 6'3".
6'3".
Maybe 6'3". Yeah, 369.
One keeps popping up. The thing is, I'm all over the place for my other ones. Six keeps constantly reoccurring, but I'm all over the place otherwise.
Well, I think you're definitely a 3, 6, and looks like Janelle's saying you're a 1.
Maybe.
I think your gut type is probably your last, the lower third of your tri-type. So what do you think, She? Oh wait. I was being facetious since you were clearly declaring your vote for one.
It was good, Spacey.
Is that my boy Kodo?
Yeah, it was good, my nigga.
What's up, Kodo? What's cracking?
I mean, we out here, you know what I mean? We chilling, you know what I mean?
Out here in Bama. Out here in Bama. Damn. You make some gains today or what?
Yeah,
All kinds of gains.
all kinds, man.
God damn, I need to post that fucking video, man. I couldn't find it. You're in the Facebook group, right?
Nah, man. I don't have Facebook anymore, man.
Boy, you need to get in there.
Go to sleep. What were we talking about, Audrey? You can go back to it.
That's funny.
Might as well be funny.
Like, this guy was hate preaching at my school.
Wait, where's the guy that's preaching?
he's preaching like God hates fags. You're going to hell. Repent from your sins.
Uh-huh.
And the person standing next to him is holding a sign that says "fuck this bigot in the butt." All right, I found it. I'm gonna post it on the page. That's
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, they're both wrong to do what they were doing. Yeah, I mean, the main issue I have with people advocating for political positions is they're just not being consistent. I mean, they're lying. They're not being honest. Well, not that you're lying, Abe, but I mean, I don't even, you haven't even read anything. I'm not saying you or anything. I'm just saying that, like, if you're going to be advocating for this position, you should be recognizing that it's not following what should be the procedure.
Okay, I'm noticing another pattern. 7's showing up quite a bit in a lot of my tests too. In fact, there's been a couple times it says 7's my primary.
I don't think so.
I think a lot of these questions are subjective. Like,
Just,
a lot of the questions in these tests are terrible.
I agree, certainly. Just like constitutional framework, Abe, I suppose. Like how the government is organized and how it was designed to be. operate. It's supposed to operate under these principles and these rules. Not necessarily. I mean, that's true too. Like with regard to the federal government being involved in education, it says nothing about the state being involved in education. It can do that. The states can do that, but not federal government. I mean, the 14th Amendment changed a lot. I mean, the Civil War changed a lot, right? That's a whole nother thing. I mean, they passed amendments with many of the states being under Reconstruction and military dictatorship and forced them to be passed, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, those amendments are null and void. They should be.
What happened? What are you talking about?
Just the amendments passed during Reconstruction.
Good evening, Red.
Red?
Yes,
Is that
his
me?
phone is red.
What? What?
So we're still trying to figure out my Enneagram type.
Can you take a test?
3.
I took several tests. It's all over the place. The only thing that's consistent is 6. And there was a couple of 7s in there, but everybody's disagreeing about the
I don't know
7.
about that one. I don't know about 9 or 1. Why do you say totes 1? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think 3 and 6 is correct. We need to figure out what my third one is, though.
I think he conversates with people differently than he does on here. You don't think so? I do.
But
Yeah, I do.
honestly, it's
I do.
better if you just read about them.
Not that I'm a
more
different
than-
person or anything, but
369. Might be 369.
Hey, peeps.
369, 361. Those are likely.
I think he's a 3 first.
Some people have said 3 first. Others have said 6 first. I think I'm a 3 first.
An ENTP with a 3 first. I don't know. Sounds weird.
Well, I'm also technically, I would say, an unhealthy version of my personality type as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think 3 first, 3, 6 is very reasonable. And then,
I'm one of the, as an ENTP, I don't know if this is normal for ENTPs, but I'm a pretty insecure person.
Well, I mean, like, what do you mean by that?
Like, I'm always worried if people are going to like me or not.
I mean, you have Effie in the 3rd slot. I mean, we all do to some extent. Yeah, hidden agenda, Effie.
3 and a 6, yeah, you're probably actually going to be concerned with that. Things.
I don't think I'm as concerned with that as other ENTPs. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, 8s were like, well, you can like me or not. So we just kind of like go, whatever.
I mean, it's cool when they do, for sure. And I like being recognized for things. Depending on
Like,
what.
I'm not going to ask for it.
Right, I'm not going to seek it.
Right, because when I was younger, I had a huge problem with wanting to fit in and stuff. But now, I kind of want to fit in, but it's more like still want to do what's right first before fitting in.
Why are you doubting his ENTP-ness?
That came out a little wrong.
Oh, purposely so.
You know,
I can act very ENFP sometimes, but I'm an
I think
ENTP.
she's getting at that you're an INTP, not ENTP.
Oh, well, I act a lot more introverted online than I do in real life.
Right, and I do the same thing.
If you met me in real life, there is no way you would call me an introvert. Period. End of story.
I mean, I would say I'm more introverted than most ENTPs.
Yeah, here's my problem. When it comes to extrovertedness, I'm like 95% extroverted whenever I take my tests.
Yeah, and I would think.
There's like no way I'm not.
No, I mean, I would think that the insecurity bit and your emphasis on your hidden agenda FE speaks to that.
Speaks to what specifically?
Your extrovertedness. You're seeking it outside of yourself from other people for validation.
True.
Rather than some sort of internal way of doing that.
Right. Plus, on top of that, I really don't want to be alone. If I'm alone, then I get depressed. I start feeling very lonely. I can't be alone for very long without me getting anxious or upset. I mean, granted, I do need time alone sometimes in order to sort through some of my thoughts, depending on what I'm going through. But for the most part, if I'm alone for more than like an hour, I start getting fidgety and want to go out, do something, talk with somebody. That's actually how I ended up on here.
people in a box. It's so handy.
Jeremy, did you call me right now, or did you say my name?
Only in my dreams, baby.
Who else is here? Fucking Jeremy. Spill the beans.
Who's spilling the beans for what?
Not me. I don't have the proper approach.
He's coaxing me to get things stirred up in here.
You're a good person to coax things into getting things stirred up.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't go, like I said, no one's going anywhere more. I can debate. I love it.
So what do you think about the death penalty?
INFT? Who's INFT?
INFT?
Who is that?
K, the INF. California?
So what's that pretty picture you got right there?
Abe, you asked about the death penalty? He left.
There we go. I went to the
I don't think I'm a 9. I think I can roll that out because the whole deal with being optimistic. Like, I would love to be optimistic, and I sometimes internally I view myself as optimistic, but then when it comes to reality, what I notice is my pattern is actually to be pessimistic, unfortunately. And I'm trying to change that, but that's not true of me, at least at the moment.
It's really hard to tell. I address existence optimistically, but I'm not that often.
You know what it is? I think I don't know.
Obvious, like I am not optimistic in rather than being realistic, but by default, I suppose.
I think we should murder people who create.
You think what?
I think we should murder people who rape.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, we should. We should burn them.
Holy crap.
We should burn them alive.
Alright, so until anybody says otherwise, I am going to say I am a 3-wing 2 for my first one, and then I'm a 6-1 after that.
I have zero fucking clue what you just said right now.
Who?
Or my Enneagram type.
Not yet. I was talking to Abe. Abe, are you talking to me? There's like 3 conversations.
No, I'm talking to...
Does that sound right?
I'm talking to a dude right here that's talking about his Enneagram type. I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
3-6-1.
I'm going to say I'm a 3-6-1, but my 3 is a 3-wing 2.
Hey, how many people we got in this room? We got 12 people in this room, right?
We have the absolute maximum because we have 13 including the bot.
John, say some shit.
Dude, I've been saying shit for too long. I'm so drained, it's not even funny.
Talk to me, baby girl. Come on.
Your previous
Girl.
Baby girl, talk to me.
Damn.
You giving me that eye look like...
To be talked to.
I want to hear some shit.
You guys are old.
I'm tired of hearing about Enneagram types and shit. I want to hear about some bullshit.
You're such an FE dumb, Abe.
Let's listen to some problem admiration or some shit, at least.
Problem admiration.
Yeah.
There is one person who provide that, and he's not here.
Oh.
Well, my problem. Well, I'm just trying to. I'm just looking now to wrap this up. So, Susanna, would you agree with my conclusion?
What?
Now we're back to square one.
3-wing 2 with a 6-1.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm excited to listen to this this fucking playlist you sent me here.
It's very random.
It's very random.
Hit next to it to find something you like.
Don't worry about it. My playlists are fucking weird as shit. I got K-pop. I got Japanese shit in there. I got rap stuff in there. I got electronic music. Jeremy, do you have playlists that are just full of like random shit?
Yeah, it's that kind of playlist I linked you.
Yeah.
I just realized something. For room 2, I'm not a member thing yet. Somebody should
I'll
send that
fix
to me.
it. You are hereby crowned.
Okay.
Oh, dang.
They
Thank
make
you.
you feel better.
Oh my god. Fucking Jeremy.
What? Did he send you something?
Woo!
What am I missing out on now?
Nothing. Don't worry about
Not
it.
sure.
Don't lie.
Don't worry about it.
Abe and I have a private bromance brewing.
On Facebook?
Does anybody know what's going on in the first room? I'm curious.
Nothing.
Lots of sex.
Nothing.
Oh, so they're just talking about that in there, I'm guessing, then?
I'm just kidding.
No,
I
like
don't know.
There's no people there.
Oh, okay.
It's real easy to go find out what's going on. I could go check.
Jeremy, don't leave the room, because if you leave the room, somebody else is gonna get here. It's maximum capacity.
I've heard that before.
So
Yeah, it's interesting. It says maximum capacity sometimes, but it'll randomly let more than the capacity in sometimes.
Jeremy, you haven't answered my question. What are your playlists like? Do you have any playlists that just have a bunch of shit in there?
Oh, yeah.
Does it bother you? It kind of bothers me a little bit.
No, because quite frankly, I create them and I never go back to them, so there's nothing to be bothered by.
Never go back to them.
No, I'm just always... I go exactly to what I want to hear at any given time, and I don't really worry about playlists. But I still have created several.
Why do you make them then?
That's a good question.
He's like, I just like to start them. But
You never know when it'll be useful one day. No, you know what? I take that back. I do have playlists for hardcore history that I've gone back to. Dan Carlin, highly recommended. The one on
I
the
feel
mountain.
uncomfortable now
Why?
Why?
because I am not a special snowflake anymore. I used to have the sexiest hair, but now Jeremy has the sexiest hair.
Thank you. See, this is that bromance stuff I was talking about. Spilling over into the public forum.
It's out now.
The public
Good idea.
non-problem admiration forum.
Yes. But if we admire problems, it's just for a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay.
Oh yeah, and Andy, the random letting in an extra person, I'm the one doing that. It's not random.
That's right. That's the arch fucking red nemesis monster. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
She is the government.
She is the government.
Government.
Hi. So, are you gonna make childcare more affordable now, government?
Pay more taxes.
Fuck, man. I'm a little tight right now.
It's tight right now.
Yeah, but I see you've got fidget spinners. You should make them more affordable for poor people.
No, it's for me.
Man, fuck you.
What an elitist.
Fuck you, I'm the government.
Role playing as the government. Like there's a lot of potential here for elucidation. Folks, this is great.
Would you guys be like tripped out if one day all of a sudden I was like, I'm actually not Abraham. And then I went like this, and then like took off like a mask, like in the movies when they fix the authors like paint and like they shape their face and shit. And I just took off like a meaty sheet of skin, like it just came out, and I was Eric. And I was like,
Only if we find out that it's only not a surprise if we learn that you're actually an ENTP that's controlling the system.
and I was like, "Meh."
I don't know. Is
Eric wouldn't be able to
Tom
pull that
Cruise
off.
a ENTP?
Wait. Plot twist.
Tom
Wait.
Cruise is an ENTP, and he's also apparently an ISTP. He's in both categories, apparently, according to 16 personalities, which is interesting.
Well,
One
that
for each of
happens
his
all the time.
personalities.
Plot twist. What if I took off that sheet of skin off my face, and I was Courtney?
Your ass would be out so fast.
Didn't the government? That's when the government comes to get you.
You would be excommunicated.
Is Eric on, like, at a specific time? Because I still have yet to meet him, and it's been, what, 4 days now?
You have to come on like really early on.
I'm on randomly throughout the day and still
And
haven't.
so
done.
is he.
What you have to do is you
We're
have to
here whenever we feel like it.
you have to crush a little Adderall. You have to
Eric
take a fat line of Adderall, and through the senses of the metaphysical Adderall kicking in, you will feel and think intuitively the time period in which Eric goes, Aaron, I should probably get on a period. And you'll communicate through being high on Adderall.
Yeah, I was saying, you meditate on Adderall and then Eric will appear. That sounds like a good.
You cannot meditate on Adderall. When I'm on that shit, oh my god, I'm gonna build a fucking house, dude. Like,
So is he like the best at this stuff than anybody here, or is he just happen to have the YouTube, or how does that work?
he's the creator.
It's
Okay.
just, I mean,
He is God himself.
You know, like in the Truman Show, he's Kristoff.
He is God himself. And Susan is the prophet.
Mm. No. I'm just a babysitter.
So you're the devil?
No, I'm the fucking government.
Same
Oh,
difference.
I'm the fucking government. Jeez. My bad. Jeremy's got that wise guy face, huh? Like when I see Jeremy, I picture him like he's like that guy at the bar that you crack open a cold one with, and he just tells you about like wise wisdomful shit. Like if you open a beer a certain way, he'd probably be like, "No, what you want to do is you want to grab the shaft first before you actually, get the grip on the beer and open it." And then he'll explain to it like he'll explain to you like the relevance of it, and he'll cater some little FI a little bit, and he'll be like, "I'm doing this because a lot of people don't know about this."
Not in how you open the beer, but I might get on to you about how you pour it.
Yeah. Oh my god, look at me. I look at my big ass fucking gallon. Oh my god, look.
So I was online with some of my Xbox Live friends today, as some of you know, and I found out something interesting, and I think I figured out why my Milsim that I was running fell apart. I'm an ENTP trying to control a bunch of S's.
Yep.
That didn't work. No wonder it didn't work out. All three people on my senior staff, I just typed them today. They're all S's.
What kind?
There was an ISTP. There was.
We love ISTP. They make great minions.
They're also freaking annoying in a lot of ways.
Yes.
There was a. Let's see. I think he was an ESTP, and a ISTJ, I think.
Well, the ESTPs just kind of point them in the right direction, make them show them that it's exciting, and let them go.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
no, they all, they were, and it makes sense because the argument that got us, that freaking made them all quit, was the argument that I was trying to think for the future, and that their argument was I wasn't dealing enough with the present. So
That sounds about right. Because all
So we-
of those are
we
going
got
to
pissed and split.
present. You're going to be like,
Problem is they were the ones with a lot of the problems though, because they weren't planning for the future at all, and it was their job to deal with the present anyway. So I don't know what their freaking problem was. Like, your job is to deal with the present. I'm planning for the future, and that's why this stuff is, these certain plans in the handbook are being put in place. Don't worry about them right now. They're like, well, we don't like what you wrote. It doesn't deal with the present. I'm just sitting here like, well, you will need it for the future. And they're like, we quit. So, very stubborn S's is what I had to deal with.
So